Cheers, everybody. Welcome to one of these poll videos that I've put up. It's been 2 weeks since I put this poll up, so apologies for not doing a video since. So basically, I thought to myself, if you could bring a beer back, what would it be? Now, I'm talking about beers that have been available recently and been withdrawn. I'm talking about beers, from when your father used to drink, your grandfather used to drink, stuff like that. So I put a poll up, and the beers I put in the poll are really based on a personal level with me. These are beers which I knew, which were drunk, when I was growing up and stuff like that, and stuff that you remember being available in the off licenses and stuff. So the beers I put up were Flowers. You remember Flowers? Um, Breaker Lager, if you can remember Breaker Lager, Castlemaine 4X, and Guinness Hop House 13, which I didn't think was discontinued, but I did Google it and it was discontinued. Someone did mention that I think you still can get it abroad somewhere, but we'll go into the comments anyway. So that's what I put up on the poll. Um, and I have to give a nod to Vaux's Scorpion Lager as well. Sounds terrible, doesn't it? Scorpion Lager. So we go right to the bottom, to the first one. Chris M. Cheers, mate. He says Overtone Emerald Shore Tipper. I haven't had an Overtone beer for a good couple of years on this channel. Again, I need to get back to the bottle shops. I'm hopeful I'm going to get back to my local bottle shop again in June, July to pick up some stuff. Hopefully, they'll have some Overtone. I would, it sounds interesting. Never tried it. Definitely give that a go if that's available again. I like a good tipper. So cheers for that, Chris. The Hoppy Traveller says Breaker at 79p a can. The Peroni of the North. Breaker was something that my father used to drink, and he used to drink it every night. And he used to love it. He used to swear by it. But I tried it once, and this was before I turned into a beer geek, and it was the most horrible beer I've ever tasted in my life. I don't think I've tasted a beer as bad as Breaker ever since. Even Carlin. It was horrendous. It was shite. What the hell he was looking at in that? I don't know. I think it's because of 79p a can. Pretty, it's pretty kind of like cheap in it for relatively dear lager. The Peroni of the North. Yeah, says it all. Claire Thomason says beer. Cheers for that, Claire. Yeah, of course. Lee73 says some of my options could be a case of rose tinted spectacles, but we'd love to try the following for you as they used to be before they were bastardized. That sounds terrible, is when you think about it, bastardized. Courage Directors. I've never reviewed that, and I need to review that on this channel. I don't think that's there no more, obviously. Witchwood Hobgoblin. Yeah, Full Pure Juice Box. One's not available anymore to my knowledge. Boxcar Double Mild. Never. Did they withdraw Fuller's Bengal Lancer? Did they really? That's terrible, that. Worthington White Shield as well. Did they withdraw that? See, I'm not up to. I'm not really up to. Definitely not up to with the Full Pure Inderman Lager. See, I'm not really. I've had Full Pure beers on this channel before, but they never really stood out anyway. The only thing that stood out for me with Full Pure were kind of like Boris and Rishi pouring a pint in their brew house, which were Bar Humbug. Not too sure. Did they? I'd imagine they would have withdrawn a lot of the Witchwood stuff. So yeah, it's a shame when you look at a beer like Fuller's Bengal Lancer. That was a cracking beer The White Shield from Worthington. Worthington White Shield was a mainstay of Worthington's beer, wasn't it? Terrible when you think about it. Luke Chelsea says Lagunitas IPA. Still around in USA, but impossible to get in the UK. Used to be in Tesco. Now, I remember Dale's from Oscar Blues. Dale's Pale Ale used to be in Tesco, along with Lagunitas, and of course Stone was in Asda. Is this down to Donald Trump's tariffs? Is it down to the world economy? It could be. Stone, as you know, Stone used to be obviously brewed in Berlin as well. We're getting Brooklyn now in Tesco, which apparently, according to sources, brewed in Sweden. Not too sure on that, but so yeah, Lagunitas fantastic IPA. That was a cracking beer. That shame, but economics for all. Scott Reviews things says original punk IPA. Just see if it's good as we're or are we nostalgic for no reason? We're most probably nostalgic for no reason, Scott. Punk IPA. I remember trying that for the first time. It was a hell of a beer for the time. Bit like Beavertown's Gamma Ray when I first tried that. When you first try these beers, they were at the forefront of the craft beer movement, weren't they? And of course, over time, corners are cut by the breweries, and you never get what the punk IPA was originally intended to be. Now, do you? You just get something which is a shadow of something which has been, played around with, and tried to kind of like brew basically the cheapest version of it. Yeah, it's a shame, isn't it, when you think about it like that. When a brewery gets too big, they tend to ruin the integrity of their own beer. Shame indeed. Cheers for that, Scott. Bullman's Beer Reviews. Hello, mate. How are you doing? He says at Hop House 13 in Tenerife, so you can still get Hop House 13 out and about abroad. I haven't seen it over here for a very long time, and to be honest, I didn't even notice it going. To be honest, it says a lot for me. Dean's Beer Reviews. Always a pleasure, mate. How you doing? He says Bear Republic Racer 5 IPA. It's still around the States, but yes, you're right. You're right. I remember picking that up. I did another Bear Republic beer as well in M&S. And it's funny you say that, Dean, because I've been in M&S today and I looked at the beers there and it's terrible. They've kind of like gone backwards. It's kind of like whoever's doing the buying and purchasing in M&S is not a beer fan. They're kind of like gone backwards. And what you see in M&S now is the state of the beer was about 10, 15 years ago. Absolutely shit, to be honest. It's a shame there's no variety in M&S at all. Neil, 1977, VXC Wheat was also a favourite mine. It's also available on the Sub Beer Machine. Neil, 1977, says Colt 45. Yes, that rings a bell. Colt 45. Fond memories. So, yeah, it's, I've heard that they're bringing back Double Diamond. This was spurred on about this question was spurred on from when I reviewed the Hofmeister, thinking, well, what beers do people want back? I think for me overall, looking at this, we have had some good beers in the shops, especially the US beers, and it might be out of our kind of like jurisdiction to save them, and it might even be the likes of Tesco's and all the big stores, M&S. It might be out of their hands. The reason why the US beers aren't available in their stores anymore could be down to the importers. Could be down to the tariffs now, which are being implemented from the US. Obviously, 10% tariff is implemented on the importer in this country to buy in. That 10% will have to be passed on to the consumer. So, yeah, I can see why about the US beers, but there is beers from the past which do strike a chord which you don't see anymore. And this was also spurred on seeing Baz's video of Mikuna's export, which is, how the hell that beer's kept going, but it has. So we got the result to the poll. In fourth place, Breaker Lager. I'm not surprised with that. I don't know the ins and outs of Breaker Lager, but I imagine it wasn't available everywhere, and it was a terrible beer. Absolutely god awful beer. And I'm glad that a lot of people haven't tried it. Third place is Flowers. Now, for me, I thought that was a beer they should bring back. Flowers. I really like Flowers. But it's Whitbread owned. It was a bitter, if I remember rightly. And I thought it weren't bad. Even in my lager drinking days, I used to drink Flowers. And I wish they brought that back. Castlemaine 4X, just an Australian name for a very mediocre lager. And maybe it was best if it's dead and buried. So Castlemaine 4X is in second place with 35%. And of course, the winner is Guinness Hop House 13 with 43%. But looking at them 4 beers I put up, for me, I think they should bring back Flowers. That's my opinion. That is one beer I would like to see back on the shelf. The other 3, no. Breaker, no chance. We want to touch that. Castlemaine 4X, no, I don't want to see that. Guinness Hop House 13. Well, my experience of Guinness Hop House 13, apart from reviewing it, I never touched it. So I don't miss it. So for me, I wish they would bring back Flowers. So thank you so much for participating in that little poll. Much appreciated, everybody. I will think of another poll. I'll put one up. Might leave it another couple of weeks again to get people's interest. If you could bring a beer back, what would it be? Stick it in the comments of this video. I'd love to know people's opinions on that, because people have different memories of beers and stuff, and the old man drinking something, or when they were growing up, or even the smell of the beer. Hurleyman's is another one. Hurleyman's Lager. I could go on forever. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this one. See you on my next one. Look after yourselves. Bib bib.